So, guys, if you're interested in all things horror, the place to get it in audio format is Hellmouth Hotline, a podcast I run independent from this channel. It did start off as like a dedicated Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast, so that brought in the spin off Angel, and every Friday we do horror movies. So, throughout October time here on the channel, I'm sharing 31 of those episodes onto this channel just so you can check it out for yourself. And it gives you a little bit of extra content here. But audio is the way forward. As much as I like getting in front of a camera and talking nonsense with pop culture, something's nice about the audio, not just for myself, but for the people that are in the audio. It's a lot easier to take in. You can jump onto an exercise machine at the gym, listen to a little audio podcast in your ears. You don't have to dedicate time to the videos, and it's just a dedicated spot for horror content as Hellmouth Hotline. So this episode is Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare, and I've got a few thoughts on that one, so check the episode out. Hey legends, welcome along to a brand new episode of Hellmouth Hotline. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart, and I know what you're thinking. It's like, where and under God have you been at, you idiot? You're supposed to be running the podcast here, doing a couple of episodes a week. You haven't been uploading in about a month, and my head has been firmly inserted between the cheeks of my ass since pretty much Christmas. So we're getting into it right now. We're getting into the final nightmare. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. I was going to say the final Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but it's not. But at the time it was released, it was supposed to be. So let's get into it now. Alright, see, this movie here is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. There's a lot to like about this movie. It's probably not one of the best in the series, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Now, this one here, set 10 years from the last one, Freddy has returned and he's killed pretty much every child and teenager in the town of Springwood, Ohio. And the only surviving teenager, John Doe, as he's known as in the movie, is confronted by Freddy in a dream. This dream at the beginning, I liked the idea of using the fallen dream for this guy, and it repeats a few times throughout the movie. And it's one of these dreams that we all have. Like, you're in bed at night, you're chilled out, you're unconscious, you're having a dream. The next thing, you wake up and pretty much you jump in your sleep. It's known as the fallen dream. That's happened to me quite a few times. Actually, it happened to me a few nights back. And I swear I woke up as I was hitting the bed. Like, it's just such a jump. And we all get it. So having that there as a dream for this guy was a nice little touch. And the Freddy in this movie, the further through we got with A Nightmare on Elm Street, the more of a celebrity Freddy Krueger started to become, and they really, really push that in this movie here. A lot of the stuff that he does is comical more than scary at times, and pushes it to the point now where I'm sitting watching it, and there's a few sequences within the movie, and I was just thinking, right, if this movie was released today, would the cancel culture mob come after Freddy Krueger for the stuff that he does in this movie? Because there's a few points in this here movie where he's just really, really taking the piss out of these kids before he kills them. That opening sequence with the plane, and the guy falls out of it, wakes up in his bed, goes to the window, opens it up, of course, and you see that the actual house, he's still in the dream, the house is actually falling through the sky, and it's when Freddy turns up, he's it's just one pathetic joke after the other. At the end of the dream, before the guy wakes up, pretty much the concept here is Freddy is trapped in Springwood, Ohio. He can't get out through the outer limits of the town, and the dream ends with John Doe waking up outside the Springfield city limits, but due to a head injury, he doesn't remember who he is or why he is there. But the sequence right before that happens, where he is standing in the street and this bus appears out of thin air, and instead of driving over the top of him, he gets welded to the front of it essentially, and Freddy's behind the steering wheel laughing maniacally. Just that kind of like that work laugh. If like me, you work on a factory, a production line, there's that laugh that just everybody has, and it's not their natural laugh, it's a laugh that they put on to really annoy people, and it's just that basic, that Freddy Krueger laugh in this movie, that ha 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 ha. You'll know if you've been in that environment, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. At a shelter for troubled youth, three of the residents, Spencer, a stoner who is resisting his dad's attempt to get him to conform, Carlos, another troubled kid who was physically abused by his mother to the point of becoming deaf in one ear, Tracy, a tough girl who was sexually abused by her father. They plot to run away to California. The police find John. They take him to the shelter where he becomes a patient of Dr. Maggie Burrows. Maggie notices a newspaper clipping from Springwood in John's pocket, and to attempt to cure John's amnesia, she plans on a road trip to take him back to Springwood. These other three kids attempting to run away from the place, they stow away in the van. They're hiding in the back of it, but they're discovered when John has an hallucination and almost wrecks the van just outside Springwood. Tracy, Spencer, Carlos attempt to leave Springwood. Another fairly ingenious sequence in the movie is them actually trying to drive the van out. John Doe and Maggie, they head off to do their thing. She tells these kids, right, go back to the shelter and turn yourselves on and whatnot. And as they try to leave the town, no matter where they drive, they always end up back at the point where they started in the town centre. The whole town itself, first thing they notice, there's absolutely no kids there. There's a town fair going on, and the adults is there, and they're all in like a comatose state, more or less. They're just Freddy has literally drained the life right out of Springwood in this movie, and it's a good movie and a very flippin' random one as well. But they end up at an abandoned house, which is 1428 Elm Street, of course, the house from the movies. John and Maggie visit the Springwood orphanage and discover that Freddy had a child. John believes that he's a child, and Freddy, he thinks this here because Freddy allowed him to live and leave. He's only wanted to escape. Back in Elm Street, Carlos and Spencer fall asleep, and they're killed by Freddy. Now the dreams these guys go on to is, and what I said was the whole cancel culture mob coming after Freddy Krueger. It is, and it's a sin laughing at it, but the stoner dream, we'll get into that one first. He's not the first one to get killed, but his dream is psychedelic to say the least, and he gets sucked into the TV essentially, and he winds up being a character within a computer game. And Freddy Krueger, he's sitting with the little joypad, like controlling the enemies in the game, like this boxing match, and like this stoners in there, and like, he's fighting this computer generated Freddy, and and the in Freddy's world, he's sitting there with his feet up, like just going to town on it, and really pushing the comedy in this here film. Um, anyway, he winds up getting snuffed, but the thing was, the guy that has the hearing issue, Freddy pushes that in a way that, and it's not right laugh. I know that it's not right laughing at it, but it's just flipping hilarious the way it was done. Particularly the chalkboard sequence. I laughed a little bit too hard at that one. And it was great to see Johnny Depp back in the movie. Of course, he was in the first movie as well. And he returned for this one as this guy. Um, where am I at? I've lost my place in my notes. Uh, Tracy's almost killed, but she's awakened by Maggie. Uh, John, who went into the dream world with Tracy to help Spencer, is still asleep. Uh, for some reason, he managed to do what we've seen in the earlier movies, where you could actually get yourself into the dream to help people out. Um, I'm really, really going at a surface review here. I'm just not going into major details in the movie, because it's one of these ones you need to watch for yourself, because it's this one where the 3D came into it in the end sequence. Um, Maggie and Tracy try to take John back to the shelter, but on their way back, Krueger attacks him in a dream, and before killing John, Krueger reveals that his child is a girl. And again, that dream sequence is the one where he dies, is another fallen dream, and in the dream, Freddy actually uses a bed of spikes to kill him whenever he hits the ground. But it's like a Roadrunner Coyote movie moment, or cartoon moment, whenever Freddy is like, this guy's falling from the sky, and you see Freddy in the ground, and he's like really cartoon form, pushing this thing into the street, and breaking the fourth wall while he's doing it. These movies at this point literally just, I don't want to say give up on the horror of it, but they really did push that comic side of Freddy Krueger. As John dies, he tells this to Maggie. He says it's not a boy, it's a girl. Uh, Tracy and Maggie return to the shelter, but they find that no one remembers John, Spencer, or Carlos except for Doc. He's this guy that's he's into dreams and whatnot, and he's whatever way he his mind is mentally, he's able to keep that connection. But as far as the people that Freddy kills in this movie, he's able to, as they die, he's also erasing every memory everybody else has of these people. Um, where am I at? Yes, he's learned to control his dreams and whatnot. So this is what they use this at the final fight with Freddy. Maggie finds her adoption papers and realizes that she is Freddy's daughter. Her birth name was Catherine Krueger, but her name was changed to Maggie Burrows when her father was arrested and subsequently murdered. So you get a whole uh, flashback story here of Freddy Krueger before he was captured by the residents and burned. And you see his previous life, where he was hiding the fact that he was a serial killer. Essentially, he was married and he had this daughter and whatnot. And you seen everything that led up to Freddy actually going insane, and that was the fact that the daughter was taken away from him. So you get more of a uh, an origin for Freddy in this movie as well. Um, Doc discovers that Freddy's power comes from dream demons who continually revive him. So every time you think Freddy's dead, so yeah, like he's going to be back. But in this movie, they attempted to finish him completely, and he works out Freddy can be killed if he's pulled into the real world. Of course, we've seen that as well in the past as well. And Maggie decides that she will be the one to enter Freddy's mind and pull him into the real world. Once in the dream, she puts on a pair of 3D glasses and enters Freddy's mind, and this is where the 3D aspect of it come in now. I never seen this movie in the cinemas and whatnot, and by all reports, the 3D effects in the movie were absolutely friggin' terrible, and you can see it for yourself. Like literally, just watching the movie, it's you can see the 3D elements watching it on DVD and whatnot, but definitely wouldn't be the on anywhere near the power of the 3D that we have had in recent years, which has seemed to have disappeared completely. Thank fuck for that. Excuse my French, but it is what it is. I like the concept of 3D in movies and entertainment, but as a person that has suspected epilepsy, let me tell you something about 3D movies. It doesn't work well for anybody with that tendency to have an epileptic seizure. I literally watched one movie in 3D, and that was Transformers: Dark of the Moon, of all things. And I wasn't right for about a week after watching the movie. It just doesn't work well. Anyway, 3D aside, once in the dream world, she puts on the 3D glasses, enters Freddy's mind. In his mind, she learns that Freddy was teased as a child, was abused by his foster father, inflicted self-abuse as a teenager, and he murdered his wife. You get all this here flashback stuff as well. Freddy, when he was set on fire by the residents, was given the power to become immortal by demons. Maggie, you know, we get to see all this, the demons possessing them and whatnot. There are these three, like, weird, I don't know, worm-like creatures with these demon faces on them that fly about on the screen. And really going for that 3D effect with them alone. So she struggles to fight Freddy and the dream to pull him into the real world, but she eventually gets him out. Maggie and Freddy end up in hand-to-hand combat against one another, and she uses several weapons that were confiscated from patients at the shelter. That's insane. These weapons that have been locked up from the patients at this shelter, it's insane, the stuff that's in there. Enraged by the knowledge of what he has done, Maggie tears off Freddy's clawed glove, and he's going to town on her about, you're my daughter, you take over and do the good work for me and whatnot. And she lifts the glove and he's like, try it on, you want to, sort of thing. And she does, the excuse the noise outside the studio here, I'm far too close to a main road. She puts the glove on, and she does this little Freddy click with the glove, and he freaks out, he knows what's coming, and she stabs him through the stomach with it, embedding the glove's claws into the steel support beam, and leaving Freddy suspended above the ground. Tracy tosses Maggie a pipe bomb. I told you, the weapons that's in this locker that was confiscated are absolutely insane. There's a friggin' pipe bomb in there. And she throws it into Freddy's chest. Like the the battle that they have, Freddy takes a lot of damage, and he's in the real world. They're trying to kill him, of course, but it's a horror movie and it's a Freddy movie, so they're going to be as graphic as they can for the day. So Freddy's attached to this wall with his own glove, and she sticks his pipe bomb into his chest, and Freddy's kind of breaks the fourth wall again. He goes, kids. And he explodes, and the three demons, unable to revive him in the real world, fly out of Freddy and disappear. So that's in this storytelling, they pretty much leave it that these demons that possessed him were the ones that were reviving him, and now that he's in the real world, they can't revive him. He's exploded, he's in 1,000 pieces, and they bugger off, and that's the last you see of them. And the last shot of the movie is Doc and Maggie rejoice as as Maggie comes out, and she says the final words: "Freddy's dead." Credits. This, as it did say, is there's a lot to like, and there's a lot to dislike about the movie. Like, I think the 3D element of it was a bit on the cheesy side. I can see why they went with that there. They're making their last movie. They want to do something memorable for Freddy Krueger to take him out. So they're like, we're going to kill Freddy. Let's do it in 3D. So the cast in this movie: Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, absolutely fantastic. Nobody is ever going to be Freddy like Robert Englund, and we did get that in a later movie, which you will get to as soon as possible. Lisa Zane in here as Maggie. She was pretty damn good on it. Who else we got? I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of Doc. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to attempt to say that name. Koto is his surname, but Yafat. Yaphat. However you would pronounce that, that's who it was. He was very good in the movie. Leslie Dean as Tracy was grand. Sean Greenblatt as John Doe was fairly good. Johnny Depp in this movie, you could see why he went on to be who he is these days. Like, back in this movie here, he, after he's killed, turns up in the opening of the nightmare for the other guy, the stoner guy, like in a public service announcement on the TV screen, and it's just the way he talks and that. I find in these two movies of Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, with Johnny Depp in it, yes, he's a hell of a lot younger than what he is now. He was a teenager back whenever these movies were made, and he didn't look like Johnny Depp apart from this one part of and I don't know if it's the cheesy grin that he had doing the PSA in this movie, but it was the only time within the entire movie where I looked at it and I was like, that's flipping Johnny Depp right there. But yes, he was excellent in this movie. Roseanne Barr turns up on it as a childless woman, and yes, there's a few faces popped up that were big names back then. Let me see what I've got here in the development of it. The previous 5 installments of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise had considered helped the finances of New Line Cinema, earned the nickname the house that Freddy built. But the studio had also begun to develop other franchises, for example, Critters. I don't think I've ever actually seen Critters. And by 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was done by them as well. Didn't know that. Bob Shea recalled in the Never Sleep Again documentary in 2010 that frankly it was time to move on and we had other projects that we wanted to focus on. The decision was made to make the sixth entry in the final film in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Director Rachel Talalay had produced most of the previous installments and was keen to helm the sixth film as its director. She also had a number of ideas that would help refresh the series, including not calling the title Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6 and incorporating more humour into this entry. Of course, that's what I've been saying. There's really, it was pretty damn funny in places, I have to say. She felt that it was lacking from the previous films. Now, I don't know if it was lacking, but it definitely wasn't as prevalent as it was in this movie. But there was a few times in the last couple of movies where Freddy would have done a few one-liners in there that were pretty damn good. The production of Freddy's Dead coincided with the original airing of Twin Peaks, which was later acknowledged as an influence on the film, with its more surreal, humorous aspects. Elements of this can be seen throughout the film, including Freddy using a version of the Nintendo Power Glove to control Spencer's character and dragging a bed of spikes to impale John Doe, in the manner reminiscent of Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Yeah, there again, I just pulled up this development page here on the net, and yes, there's quite a few things in here that it's really just calling out what I have already said in this review over here. The original script, in the original script, 15-year-old Jacob Johnson, son of the previous installment's main character, Alice Johnson, was the main character, and many of the Dream Warriors from A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 returned to aid Jacob and defeating Freddy after he kills Alice. The idea was later discarded. I need to sleep more before I start recording podcasts because I trip over my words whenever I'm tired. Peter Jackson also wrote a screenplay that was not used. The story was about teenagers who do not see Freddy as a threat, but took sleeping pills to enter Freddy's world. Jackson's script also included a police officer put into a comatose state to permanently be in Freddy's realm. Fairly dark. It could be an interesting one to see if it was ever made. John Carl Bucheller, again, probably butchered that name, Chief Special Effects Officer for the film, returning to the series after serving the same role in the Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Warrior, or Dream Master. Also contributed to the film's 3D Freddy Vision climax. Freddy Vision, I completely forgot that they called it Freddy Vision. In the last 10 minutes, the film is in 3D to cue the audience to put on their 3D glasses. Maggie is seen to put on her 3D glasses in the film. Yep. Cheesy as hell too. That was class. She's like, right, we're going to go into the dream. I'm going to put my glasses on now. Then the audience would put their glasses on and join her. Then at the end of the movie, whenever she comes out of the dream, while she's in the dream, the glasses disappear. She's wearing them, but they're invisible to the viewer. And when she eventually comes out of the dream, before she says Freddy's dead, she's standing there, and these 3D glasses appear in her face again, and she takes them off, and that's a cue for the audience to take theirs off, and then she goes, Freddy's dead, and we go into the credits. The effect was eliminated for the VHS and television releases, with the exception of the UK and France rental version and the US Laserdisc version. The DVD box set released in 1999 reinstated the 3D effect and included 2 pairs of 3D glasses. In the Never Sleep Again documentary, Rachel Talalay revealed that whilst the film was being processed in 3D, the lab developing the print accidentally sent them 2 second clips from the then unreleased Terminator 2 Judgment Day. there you go. So they got a spoiler for T2. This movie was class. Right, what was the critical response for it? The film holds a 22% positive rating on film review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, based on 32 reviews. Austin Chronicle? Austin Chronicle wrote, Freddy Krueger has devolved from the horrific, ill-defined phantasm positioned in the original film into a bland and annoying, predictable boogeyman loved by kids everywhere. That's fairly true at this point in the movie. They, as I say, there's quite a few elements in the movie that are fairly graphic and scary enough in a way, but it's definitely not the Freddy Krueger that was originally brought out. But as I said, like by the time we got through the last three movies, Freddy was becoming an overnight success, and I do believe in a New Nightmare. Is it Wes Craven's New Nightmare? It's not the remake, because the remake doesn't have Freddy, or doesn't have Robert Englund in it. I think it's New Nightmare. They actually do have a sequence where Freddy is at a horror con. So he pops out to meet his audience and take the applause. The song Why Was I Born? Freddy's Dead, written for the film, was nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Original Song. That is terrible. In the 2010 documentary Never Sleep Again, Lisa Zane commented that she had submitted a Bond-esque ballad called The Worst Is Over for use over the end credits, but Why Was I Born was chosen instead. Director Rachel Talalay had worked with Iggy Pop on the 1990 film Crybaby and offered him the chance to compose a song for the film. So yeah, it is what it is. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. You know what? I have to say, out of all the movies, I think this one's pretty high up on my list as the one that I probably would enjoy watching the most, because it's just so random, and Freddy's inappropriate humour, let's just say, was you get a few guilty laughs out of it. That again, that chalkboard sequence where he's trying to kill Johnny. Well, not trying to kill. He's going to kill Johnny Depp's character because he's deaf in the one ear, and the concept that was. We all know the story of the running the nails down a chalkboard, and that noise would drive anybody insane. And the dream sequence for part of it, or the nightmare sequence, I should say, he has Johnny Depp's character without the hearing aid, and he's walking about within the nightmare trying to find his way, and Freddy's jumping about in the background, and as the audience we're getting a visual but we're hearing absolutely nothing. We're in the headspace of the victim at this point, and Freddy's jumping about like a madman behind him, like screaming and shouting and dancing and getting on, and this guy can't hear anything, and then Freddy actually gives him the hearing aid back. Oh, there's the so quiet you could hear a pin drop sequence as well, which was, again, it's one of these things where if this movie was released today, would cancel culture fucking destroy it? Maybe so, but it's a horror movie. Do you know what I mean? That's it. People get offended at absolutely everything. We're all, well, I was going to say we're all, not we're all, but the vast majority of the planet now are just can't take a joke. They really can't. But the pin drop sequence, where the Freddy gives them the hearing aid back, but he enhances it so this guy is super sensitive to sound, and like has a single pin, and he's standing way up above this guy, and he drops the pin. Johnny Depp's character dives, grabs hold of it, That's all good. But then Freddy has a whole handful of pins, chucks them in there, and then they hit the ground. It's like, and he's screaming because of all the noise. And then Freddy gets to that part where he pulls out this little chalkboard, but then he makes it bigger by extending it out long ways and up above. And the little when he puts the hand across the the chalkboard to run his nails down it, or the claws down it, or his blades, uh, he does this little dance while he's doing it. And every time I see that sequence, no matter how many times I've seen it, he does this little weird sort of like, he's getting a lot of pleasure out of it, and he does that sort of thing. And I crease up every time I see it. It is absolutely hilarious. So good. I love this movie. Freddy's Dead was released September 13th, 91. It grossed 34.9 million in the US and a budget of 9 to 11 million, surpassing its predecessor's gross, and it was panned by critics upon release. So it's one of these ones, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But if you're into the Freddy Krueger movies and you've enjoyed them all up to this point, you don't jump across this one. It's cheesy. There's a lot of humour in it, maybe more than it needs, but well worth watching. And that's definitely by far not the worst in the series, because Freddy did come back, not just in the form of Robert Englund, but in another guy as well. I've only seen about the quarter of that film, the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but we'll get into that there in a few weeks' time. But if you're here at this point in the podcast, guys, I just want to thank you for hanging about and checking it out. And I'm going to try and keep this going as regular as clockwork from here on. And as I said, I just had a real weird couple of months from Christmas, and just a few things popped up in my personal life that I wasn't prepared for. And I don't know, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I've had my head firmly inserted between the cheeks of my own arse. So we're back now. I'm feeling a lot better. We're doing more and more, and I've got a new podcast set up here that's going to really streamline the amount of time it takes to actually get these recorded and edited and out. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a little rating review, share it along to anybody you'd think would be interested in it. And I'm going to see you you're going to hear me at least 2 nights a week at this point. So stay safe, guys, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.